It was a rainy afternoon when my husband, Amit, hurriedly left through the door, saying there was an urgent crisis and a last-minute meeting. I barely managed to give him a kiss goodbye, and as I watched him drive away, I gazed out the window at the pouring rain. A sense of unease settled in me, the reason for which I couldn't quite explain. Perhaps it was the loneliness I had been feeling at home due to Amit's hectic work schedule lately. About an hour later, my phone rang. It was Amit. "The rain is really terrible," he said. "I called Murat over to our house. He got caught in the rain and is soaking wet. Spend some time with him until I finish my work." Murat was Amit's closest friend. They had been buddies since university. He often came over to our house, sometimes talking for hours with Amit, playing games or reminiscing about old memories. However, I had never been alone with him when Amit wasn't around. "Of course," I replied, my voice tinged with hesitation. "I'll tell him to come." An hour later, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there stood Murat, drenched from the rain, his jacket covered in droplets and his black hair sticking to his forehead. "Thank you for coming," I said, handing him a towel. "Amit might be late, but come in and warm up." Murat sighed deeply. "Thank you. I was stranded in the rain," he said, his strong voice filling the silence of the house. I made us each a cup of coffee, and we sat in the kitchen together. I had never spent such a long time alone with him before. He always spent time with Amit, but that day his gaze felt more intense. "Amit is a lucky man," he suddenly broke the silence. "Not everyone gets to have a partner like that." I tried to smile, but the tone of his words made me uneasy. "Amit is also lucky to have a friend like you," I replied. Murat's gaze lingered on me a moment longer, as if he wanted to say something else, but remained silent. Instead, he took another sip of coffee. Just then, the doorbell rang again. This time, Amit walked in, drenched from the rain, and surprisingly earlier than I had expected. "Welcome," Murat said, laughing. "I hope the rain didn't ruin you too much." "Not too bad," Amit replied. "Your house has been a savior." He glanced at me and winked. "I have something planned for this evening," he said. "It might be a bit unusual, but having Murat here is perfect timing." I raised my eyebrows. "What do you mean?" I asked. Amit sat down and began to speak seriously. "Lately, it feels like something is missing between us. Maybe we need to add some excitement." He looked at Murat and then back at me. "I want to try something, a shared experience for all of us, but it's completely up to you to accept it." I was shocked by how candid Amit was being. It wasn't something I had expected. Murat sat quietly, weighing Amit's words. "What do you mean?" I asked. Amit laughed a little, but there was seriousness in that smile. "If Murat agrees, we could spend the night together." A heavy silence fell over the room. Murat's eyes turned to me, filled with a mix of surprise, curiosity, and a hidden desire. 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind. Could this situation be acceptable? Did Amit really want this? And did I truly want to do it? I felt Amit take my hand. "You don't have to," he said, "but trying this could strengthen the bond between us." Finally, I took a breath. "Okay," I said, my voice low but firm. Murat paused for a moment, then smiled slightly. "If this is really something all of you want, I'm here too." That night began. At first, everyone was a bit tense, but with Amit's guidance, things gradually warmed up. He gently controlled every step, ensuring none of us felt uncomfortable, maintaining constant communication. Murat's touches felt strange at first, but over time, it all flowed naturally. Having Amit there made the whole situation feel less awkward. As the night progressed, emotions intensified, and each moment turned into an unforgettable experience. Murat's presence added a new dimension to the relationship between Amit and me. That night, we shared not just a physical bond, but also an emotional closeness. By morning, we were all exhausted, yet peaceful. We can never forget this, Amit said with a smile. Murat added, "Thank you for giving me this trust. This experience changed our lives completely. My relationship with Amit deepened, and Murat became not just a friend, but also a companion. I didn't know what the future held, but that night allowed us to see everything from a different perspective. The first light of morning brought a peaceful silence to the house as we quietly sat at the breakfast table, the weight of the previous night still hanging over us. Amit looked into my eyes, held my hands, and spoke softly. I'll never forget this night, but I know it might not mean the same for everyone. I've also realized that this kind of experience isn't suitable for every relationship and that the risks can be significant. This experiment had a positive result for us, but we continued to live with the awareness that this secret might not have the same outcome for everyone. Life returned to normal, but that night remained a cherished memory in our minds.